Impact to Hero started in 2004 to assist severely wounded soldiers coming home post 9/11. And as you know, today we don't see the severity of physical injuries, but the emotional injuries are still intact for so many veterans that have served our country valiantly. So Impact to Hero meets veterans wherever they are in the community. A veteran may be newly discharged from the active military service, and we find out what it is their needs are.
Welcome to An Ounce of Prevention, the podcast. At our recent associates, we believe that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Our daily commitment lies in informing our clients about legal risks without hindering their business objectives. As we like to say, we're in the business of building companies and helping executives sleep at night. So stay tuned. Maybe you'll learn something that'll help your business grow and thrive.
Welcome to An Ounce of Prevention, where we believe an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I'm your special host, Morgan Gilmore. Today, we're continuing our special series on the featured organizations that are going to be benefited by the A&D Dealmakers Haunted Hall. Before we dive into today's conversation, we'll take a brief pause and go into today's case law update.
Our next case law update covers MBI Oil and Gas LLC versus Royalty Interest Partnership LP, a case arising out of North Dakota and the 8th Circuit. This case involves a dispute over whether an oil and gas lease expired or if MBI properly extended that lease. Royalty leased to MBI in 2013. The lease's primary term was 3 years, but it included an option to extend so long as production continued on the lease premises. However, after 3 years passed, MBI did not drill any new wells. Royalty leased the same property to Oventive in 2020, and Oventive promptly drilled and produced new wells. In 2022, Royalty contacted MBI asking MBI to release its expired lease. In response, MBI initiated suit against Royalty, claiming that MBI had properly extended the lease, which trumped the subsequent lease between Royalty and Oventive. The case hinged on the language of the lease, specifically two critical clauses, the reservation clause and the habendum clause. The reservation clause of the lease between Royalty and MBI reserved to Royalty all right, title, and interest in the Calhoun well and its production. The habendum clause stated that the lease could be extended so long as oil or gas of whatsoever nature or kind was produced in commercial quantities from the lease premises or on acreage pooled therewith or drilling operations were continued. MBI argued that because the Calhoun well was on the lease premises and since it continued to produce, MBI's lease with Royalty did not expire. Rather, MBI argued, the language of the habendum clause only stated that oil and gas needed to be produced on the premises, without requiring MBI to produce it themselves. In response, Royalty argued MBI could not rely on the Calhoun well's production because Royalty explicitly reserved all rights to its production. The district court held that the plain language of the lease showed an intent to exclude the Calhoun well's production from counting toward MBI's production, thus causing MBI's lease to terminate. MBI appealed. The 8th Circuit acknowledged that while MBI's argument regarding the habendum clause would typically hold true, the reservation clause, which preceded the habendum clause, expressly reserved the Calhoun well's production to Royalty, as the reservation clause's language of all right, title, and interest was express and unambiguous. MBI could not claim the Calhoun well's production, as that would be tantamount to declaring that MBI had some type of interest in the Calhoun well. Overall, the 8th Circuit upheld the district court's ruling that MBI's lease had expired and that Royalty and Oventive's lease was proper. So what does this mean? Leases are pretty valuable, but drilling wells is expensive. Lessors will go to great lengths to argue that their lease is still valid. Just recently, we saw the Texas Supreme Court rule on the continued validity of a lease in the Cromwell versus Anadarko case, and go the other way under a different set of facts, holding that the lease was valid without drilling. To hear more about that case, listen to episode 8 of our podcast. That's all for today. I'd like to thank Frances Warden, a law clerk in our Denver office, for her help on this episode.
Today, I'm joined by Constance White, Executive Director of Impact to Hero, based in Houston. Welcome, Constance.
Thank you, Morgan. It's nice to be here.
Well, looking forward to it. So I've got to hear a little bit of your organization from various, years here in Houston. I've attended a few events, and so we're very lucky to have you all participating in this. So please tell our listeners a little bit about Impact to Hero.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to thank recent associates for inviting Impact to Hero to be part of this really creative and inaugural event. And we're super looking forward to it and just being able to tell our story a little bit more. So I've been with Impact to Hero for 4 years, just almost 4 years. I am not a veteran myself, but I am a daughter of a U.S. Army veteran, and I've learned so much being in the veteran community. Impact to Hero started in 2004 to assist severely wounded soldiers coming home post 9/11. And as you know, today we don't see the severity of physical injuries, but the emotional injuries are still intact for so many veterans that have served our country valiantly. So Impact to Hero meets veterans wherever they are in the community. A veteran may be newly discharged from the active military service, and we find out what it is their needs are. So we have very varied workshops, and so our mission is to really help the entire family and how they can be better individuals in their leadership and family members and personal growth.
Okay, great. So let's talk about some of the significant work that you all are doing, because Houston has quite a large veteran population, correct?
Yes, and so we're members of the Houston Regional Veteran Chamber, and I'd encourage your listeners to view them because they'll have a lot of information about veteran-owned businesses and population. But we have over 1.5 million veterans living in the state, and about 450,000 live here in Houston area. And so we're number 2 in the nation as far as veteran-populated community. So it's important to just remember our veterans and know that we're living in a community that has a lot of resources, and a lot of the veterans don't know about the resources that are out there for them.
I know that you have some new programs that you all have recently started. Can you tell us a little bit more about those?
I will say that Impact to Hero is unique in the Veteran Service Organization. There's so many VSOs out there. We're part of Combined Arms, a network which services multiple veteran service organizations, whether veterans are looking for meaningful employment, housing. Our part in that relationship is about personal growth, leadership, and some financial support. So we offer 4 key workshops. We have emotional intelligence taught by a combat United States Army veteran, West Point graduate, and he really takes the science behind emotional intelligence and helps veterans understand communication with themselves and others, so to be a better family member, better leader in the corporate community. And as our facilitator says, we can't change our IQ, but we can change our EQ with work. Another one we have is Leadership Academy. It's an 8-week Leadership Academy. There's so many differences of leadership in the military community versus the civilian community. So this curriculum is just helping the veteran to just have a easier time with the civilian, how decisions are made, a little bit about emotional intelligence and so
transitioning
forth.
That thought process.
The transitioning, yes. And the other one we have is called Repel, A Breakthrough to a Better You. Our facilitator was trained by Brene Brown, who was researched for Dare to Lead. The curriculum is still Dare to Lead. We just can't use that name, but we're going to offer that twice this fall. Emotional intelligence twice this fall. And then the other one we have that I'm really excited about too is Heroic Self-Care. And that's an all-day workshop. We're partnering with the Institute for Spirituality and Health. And it's really taking the mind-body skill facilitator to talk about what is your anxiety based on trauma. And it's very confidential, and it's co-ed. Soon we're going to have an all-female workshop retreat. But it's really just about tackling your emotions and what is at the core of your anxiety, and kind of teaches you some ways to help yourself at home. And it's been really beneficial. For all of our programs, they're unique, as I mentioned before. And also some of the veterans that are attending are just saying some of our programs are what's helped them the most. And some of them, until Impact to Hero, didn't even know there was a community out there to help veterans.
Yeah, they sound very unique, because a lot of times you don't hear about maybe veteran service organizations actually having specific tracks for females as well. So that's fantastic to hear. So you mentioned that you have some family that was in the military. You've been in the Houston area for a while, but tell us about how you got to Impact to Hero. What was your path there?
Well, I've been in Houston. I grew up in New Mexico, where my family still is. Daughter of a U.S. Army veteran. He served his time and then went back home and began the family industry of ranching, sheep and cattle. So have dabbled in that a little bit as a kid. Went on to school, got a major in public relations and communication. And I found a job here in Houston with a group that you all may be familiar with, but it's embedded in the oil and gas industry called Spindletop Charities. And so
Name sounds familiar.
Yeah. So, yes, exactly. So, helped build that organization up. I'm really proud of the many years I had with them, and left in 2020, and then found myself Impact to Hero a year or two later. My history with Impact to Hero goes back to 2013, 14, 15. I was asked to serve on the board of directors. And so that's when I really learned the mission of Impact to Hero, met so many of the combat veterans we supported then. And so I really developed relationships and just this passion for helping veterans. So stayed in touch with Impact Hero for a while. And then in 2021, the board of directors invited me to rejoin the board. And I did, and served for about 8 months. And then they invited me to be the new executive director. So here I am.
I think that's amazing to come with that background of having been a board member, seen what the organization's gone through, and now you can kind of step into that role as executive director.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. I've learned so much. And where we're officed with the Combined Arms Network, we're right when you walk in the door. So a lot of times Impact to Hero is the first point of contact for veterans that are coming off the street or that are helpful. So just being in person there, I'm learning so much and meeting some wonderful individuals and establishing relationships where Impact to Hero can help them. I can refer them to other organizations. And so there's just a lot of passion there.
Okay. Well, you mentioned that folks kind of walk in, they can be that first point of contact. How can listeners get involved? On an individual standpoint, from a corporate standpoint, how can we help your organization?
Well, again, there's so many veteran service organizations out there. We have a 2-person staff, which we do a lot with 2 people. Our board members, of course, there's positions open on our board, but also throughout the year, we have volunteer needs. So if interested in volunteering for Impact to Hero at an event or, helping us with a camp, I'd like to visit with you about. But also, we'd love to refer a listener to another veteran service organization that may have a more regular need for volunteers.
All right. So you will also be attending the Halloween event on the 23rd.
I'm really looking forward to it, and I've been thinking about my costume. And,
okay. Do you have one picked out?
I'm kind of getting close. And I was going to go one place, and I came back, and it will be mission-oriented to Impact to Hero. So we're looking forward to it.
I like it.
Got to stand out.
I like it. Well, we're really in Halloween game time here. A lot of folks don't know, but you got to plan that costume ahead of time. You can't wait till the last minute.
Yeah, that's right. But I'd also like to tell you a little bit about our camp.
Yes, please.
If I can. In addition to the workshops that we offer, Earl Lundy, a U.S. Army veteran, Purple Heart recipient, and I sat down one day 4 years ago and talked about getting to know each other, and I asked him what he'd like to do, and he wants to start a camp for kids. And so I said, let's do it. So through my previous employment, I knew about Camp for All out near Brenham, and Earl called Camp for All, and within 2 weeks we had a contract. And so this is our 4th annual Camp Impact. We just returned home for it. We had 28 teens register for camp. We partner with Combined Arms and the Travis Manion Foundation. And if you're not familiar with Travis Manion, I encourage you to learn about Travis Manion. He was a Marine who was killed in action, and his family has taken upon themselves to develop a wonderful Character Does Matter curriculum. And his ethos was, if not me, then who? So we utilize that in our camp. And so we teach a character strength of bravery before we go on the zip line or ropes course, or perseverance for fishing. We have teamwork. We have a gratitude for a service project. So our teens are really learned a lot, 13 to 16-year-old, all veteran-connected teens. And for many of them, this is the first time they've been able to experience a camp and certainly ride a horse for the first time.
That's great. So this program is available to children of veteran families?
Yes, any veteran. It could be a nephew and niece. It doesn't have to be a direct descendant. So we had a wait list for the first time this year, which was awesome. So if you hear about it in 2026, get right on it and apply.
Okay. That's a great segue into this question. So as you know, we're featuring 3 organizations at the event. So every organization gets to walk away with something, but the attendees get to vote on their organization of choice. So, and we'll divide the proceeds accordingly. So why should the attendees vote for Impact to Hero?
Great question. Happy to answer it. I'm very familiar with your other two charities just because of good relationship with them today and my past nonprofit experience. So we're really grateful to be on a stage with them. Why vote for Impact a Hero? We can't forget about our veterans. And although we don't see a lot of veterans coming home with the physical wounds, they're there and it's real. And so we're local. We're in the greater Houston area, surrounding counties. We don't apply for government funding, so we rely on our generous supporters. For our freedoms we have today, we have an obligation to help our veterans. And no matter where people serve, they signed up. And only 1% of our population has serving in the armed forces. So when you think about that and the number of veterans in the Houston region, we work really closely with the city of Houston. There's thousands of veterans that work as first responders. Our own police chief, or not police chief, but our fire chief is a veteran himself. Our police chief is a former first responder always. And so there's just thousands of veterans working for us in our city. And so we stay in touch with the city of Houston's mayor's office to make sure that they know about our workshops. You hear so much about veteran service organizations, and there's so many out there, but the dollars that you spend with Impact a Hero will go directly to our programs, our workshops, and let us have the ability to increase the area where we're serving and certainly the number of workshops. And we're making a difference, and it's impacting a hero, one hero at a time.
No, I think that's fantastic. What a wonderful mission. The veterans took care of us. We have to take care of them.
Yes, that's right.
So thank you. And I love that you made a comment about all the organizations. As I've spoken with each of the CEOs or executive directors, you all have such nice things to say about one another. And so I really am happy. I think we put together a really great group of folks to support for this.
Yeah, it's interesting because the other two organizations are supporting, even some of our veteran service organizations are helping them, both of them, or bringing the communication services into a veteran service area or helping make lunch bags for another group. And so everybody's kind of intertwined and we can all help each other.
It's kind of like the oil and gas business.
Yes,
We're
it
all
is.
intertwined too.
Yes, it is. So I'm really glad to know that you all are just so interested in helping your community, and congratulations on your first inaugural. I'm interested to know who some of your clients are because I still have a lot of friends in that oil and gas industry that are so important to the community and helping so many different charities out there. So kudos to y'all for helping them be deal makers.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, folks, you heard it from Constance here, but please join our event. Come by, introduce yourself, learn about how you can get involved. We look forward to it.
Thanks
look forward
so
to having you
much.
there.
Yeah, thank you.
If you would like to attend the Dealmakers Haunted Hall an A&D Halloween Gala on October 23rd, tickets are on sale now. Visit our website at rreislaw.com.
Greetings, ghouls, ghosts, and most importantly, Dealmakers. If you're heading to Houston this October, mark your calendars because you won't want to miss this. Join us on October 23rd for RRNA's inaugural Dealmakers Haunted Hall Halloween Gala, where the A&D community comes together for a night of networking and meaningful impact. Now, if you are looking at the calendar, you already know that this week is packed with high-caliber events. There's the SPE Annual Technical Conference from October 20th through the 22nd, the Minerals and Non-Op Assembly on October 21st, the North American Capital Assembly on October 22nd and 23rd, and of course, the Women's A&D Luncheon on the 23rd. So why not cap off the week in style with our event the night of the 23rd? Get ready for all the fun activities. We have poker, karaoke, multiple bars, and don't miss the show-stopping costume contest. Come dressed to win. Tickets are on sale now, and if you won't want to miss this eerie evening of industry magic. Individual tickets are just $200, so grab yours early and save your spot in the Haunted Hall. Bringing your deal-making team? Go for the squad ticket. Just $1,000 for 6 tickets, perfect for teams, friend groups, and partners in crime. Visit www.rreislaw.com to secure your tickets before they vanish into the night. There are also still sponsorships available. Interested in sponsoring this year's event? We'd love to have you on board. Visit our website for details or reach out directly to explore how you can be part of the magic.
The information and material in this episode is general information about our practice and firm and is for educational and informational purposes only. This information does not offer specific legal advice, and the use of this information does not create an attorney-client relationship with RRNA or any of its attorneys. The information in this episode, or any episode of An Ounce of Prevention, should not be considered legal advice, and persons should not act upon this information without first engaging professional legal counsel.
Thank you for listening to An Ounce of Prevention, presented by R. Reese & Associates. If you found this episode informative, subscribe to, rate, and review our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you listen to stay up to date with future episodes, case law updates, and breaking news. If you have any questions or are interested in learning what RRNA's outsourced legal department can do for your company, reach out to us at podcast@rreeselaw.com. That's podcast@rreeselaw.com. Follow us on LinkedIn or call 832-831-2289.